and full course yellow is deployed. Full course yellow is deployed.
Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Full Course Yellow for season 2026. The World Formula One Championship has been finally done and dusted, and the new Formula One World Champion is Lando Norris. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. Also wrapping up the year, sort of our general recollections of 2026 in terms of motor racing. We'll be asking you for some of your highlights as well. And also, when I said 2026, it is 2026 next year, not last year. I'm so keen to be over 2025. I've been saying 2026 for ages now. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Joining us also, we've got the cast of several tonight. Joining us alongside me tonight, we have Peter Johnson, we have Richard Outram, we have Mark Jones, and we have Craig Doc Gladigo. G'day, guys. Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Good evening, viewers. Evening, listeners.
Hello.
Well, let's talk about it. It was always a big ask for Oscar Piastri, and he did in a way sort of almost as much as he possibly could. The same for Max Verstappen. It was a close run thing in the end, and Max sort of showed that if we had have had a grand final, a Supercars NASCAR type grand final, Max Verstappen would have absolutely romped it in this the title in this year. But thankfully we don't. So it did eventually go to Lando Norris. So before we look at the big picture in terms of Lando's championship and how it's going to be remembered in the years to come, let's talk about the race first and foremost. Not the most exciting race in the world, but Pete, what were your takeaways from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix?
Yes, it wasn't the most exciting race, but Lando, when he pitted on that first pit stop, he pulled off some great moves, passing cars, but it wasn't the most exciting race. I will agree.
Yeah, it was the only big move was Oscar going around the outside of Lando, and now sort of McLaren are saying, well, we sort of planned all that. That was Lando was they were on different strategies, and Lando did the right thing and basically kept out of the road, and we wanted, basically they said that they wanted Oscar to put pressure on Max and hopefully try and push him into some sort of, him and Red Bull into some sort of a mistake. And of course that didn't happen. Max was just once again in a class of his own. Richard, what was your impressions of the race?
Okay, to start with, my the weird take of the weekend was when one of the Sky reporters turns to Max and goes, "Are you guys all going to shake hands?" And Max reels around and says, "Do I have to?" He says, "No." And so he shakes everyone's hand. I thought, oh, wow, I can just cut that one out and paste that one on the wall.
Do I have to? And then he still does it because he just wants to cause rubbish.
Great.
He's just a contrarian by nature.
Yeah. No one pushes Max
like father, like son.
Yeah.
He's really bored sometimes, and he just has to cause a little bit, stir the pot.
Yes.
He does have a very dry. I mean, people accuse him of having no sense of humour, and I mean, he said, he's basically, yeah, he does. It's a very dry sense of humour, a very sarcastic.
The best one during the year. Remember when they were hassling bloody Oscar and Lando, and the three of them were in the presser straight after the race. It was they were on the podium, and they were questioning him. I can't remember what is it, whatever rules are like that. And they asked him they asked the two boys about the 10th time, and he just goes, "Oh," and just slumps like this in between him like that, and go. That was the best one of the whole year when he just physically just goes, "Oh."
I am so done with this.
And even in Las Vegas, or was that the last one before this one? Qatar. He said, "I'm just looking forward to some time off. I don't care. I'm just looking."
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're actually on track at Abu Dhabi at the moment, and Lando and Oscar are both running there. Most of the teams have got their lead drivers running and doing some testing, some tyre testing, and some new driver testing as well, and some stuff with Pirelli. But one person who is definitely not there is Max Verstappen. Max is long gone. So, could you stay and do a couple of days? No. You got the new kid in. Put Isaac in there. Like, give him some experience. Basically, it's him and
Arvid's keen too. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're currently testing at the moment. The interesting thing is, haven't seen any photos yet. I had the report just before we came on that apparently nobody's done it, but apparently Mercedes are the only people who are doing some sort of pre-season testing of what we might see next year, and they've said that they're running the new spec front wing, there's about five teams. I did some research today on the 2026 regs and where everybody's at. I had some time off today, so I had a quick look, and by all reports, we'll go back to this year's stuff in a second, but all reports, Mercedes are in front, but that's based on a very small amount of information. So it's all speculation. They reckon they're miles in front of everyone else, but Audi's doing quite well as well too. Williams is going good. They're only doing it. There's only about 5 teams, and they reckon the Mercedes power plant with all the stuff is the most advanced out of the whole lot. So we'll see there. But at the same time, there's no word on how the Ford engine's going, because remember the regs are 50-50 next year on the hybrid stuff, not the 2080 as it is this year. So there's a whole lot of information that's a bit of ducks and drakes, as they always are. But we'll see. I think it'll all come down to that whoever's got the best engine and who's ever utilising that with the team might do a little bit better, say, for the first parts or first half of the year than what the second is, because then you've still got, Adrian Newey, they reckon by far, of course, is going to have the best aerodynamic car, of course, at Aston Martin. And I just want to say a quick shout out to, of course, he was listening, of course, like Max is, that Fernando was up to just as much antics, if not more than Max on the weekend in the lead up to the race, jumping around, playing jokes on other drivers and doing silly stuff, pouring water on them and each other and doing lots of lead up stuff.
Well, Mercedes declared quite early, like 4 or 5 months ago, that they had got their head around the new regulations for next year. And of course, as you said, Doc, Adrian Newey designed the car. The thing that worries me with Aston Martin is that he's declared, before he was team principal, he's declared that he has an issue with Lance Stroll being there, and he really doesn't like it. So I reckon it's going to become dysfunctional.
Just refer to Brad Gordon's thing down there. Let's talk 12 hour. We will get to that, Brad. We will catch up. Yeah. We've booked our accommodation, tickets. We're coming up there, a few of us, etc. And I did see your post today. Quite funny. You said you'd see yourself out because for Quinn. I saw that. Yeah, quite a little funny post there by you. But we'll catch up with you soon. Good to hear from you, Brad.
Yeah, it's going to be that's looking good. I mean, they've got 30 cars already, and that's far from the end of the story. So it's going to be a huge Bathurst 12 hour this year. So after sort of last couple of years, it was like, they might be struggling a bit, but it's a real comeback. And congratulations to everybody involved, to Supercars, to SRO Australia, to everybody involved in the running of that thing. That they've turned it around, and they've got some really good cars and drivers, and some 30 cars is at this stage is a really good turnout. So I think we're going to have one of the biggest fields that we've had in a long time.
Do we know where the extra cars are coming from? Like, I mean, there's been some increased international interest, but by the same token, we're
There was
also
a three car announcement today internationally.
yeah.
Well, that was
But we've lost a couple of international teams as well.
We've
So
lost
there's
a
probably
couple, but we've
yeah,
gained a
we've
couple
made
from
some
Asia.
gains. But I get the feeling that we might have an expanded field of non-GT3s.
Well, at the moment, that's not the case. At the moment, the KTM is back for the Invitational and GT4 thing, so that's really good. But apart from that, it seems to be pretty much all GT3s, and we haven't had anything sort of officially announced in terms of the Mustang yet. I mean, sort of, certainly Ford were saying earlier in the year we intend to have a Mustang there. We know that there's a Corvette coming, so. Under those circumstances, I would be very surprised if Ford don't find, or I believe there is a car supposedly here right now, but we haven't heard about who's going to be driving it or who's going to be running it or anything like that. So yeah, that's something to in the next few weeks to look forward to, but. It's going to be a huge meeting again, but we've already we've already moved past. Let's go back to Formula One just briefly because Oscar it was a good year for Oscar. I mean, it didn't end obviously the way that he wanted to, but let's face it. I mean, in his third year, he's third in the championship. He was right in contention to the very final round, and there was a bit of bad luck and a little bit of bad driving, but and a lot of circumstances seemed to fall against him. I mean, if you were in Oscar Piastri's shoes right now, I think you'd have to look at the year and say, okay, it didn't end the way that I was hoping it to end, but I did pretty well.
Yeah, and it's the same principle as with Octani in the supercars. Like, people were bleating because under the old system, he would have walked it in the championship. And it's a bit the same with Oscar. If you had a pure system, he would have walked it in, but ultimately you've got to be there at the end. At the end, you've got to be up there at the end. And Lando, towards the end, got up there and got the better of him, and that's life.
I think you've got to give some credit to Lando. I mean, because he was, whoever he saw, because he said that he did speak during the break. He said he went off and he spoke to a sports psychologist, and he got, he was refocused. He said he spoke to a few people, including a sports psychologist, and came back with a different mindset and was much clearer in terms of what he needed to do and what his role was, and how he had to go about his job. I mean, if I could, I know you're probably not watching Lando, but if by some chance this gets back to you, could you possibly, if you've got the number of that sports psychologist that you spoke to, could you perhaps pass it on to Mr. Ben Stokes and Mr. Bazball?
Well, I'm sure Lando's got Ben Stokes' number. I don't doubt that, or could have a direct line to it. But I think also...
I know that Lando's not a big fan of, because we have seen the thing where Lando and Oscar did play cricket together.
And Daniel Ricciardo, I think, played.
Yeah, this is probably more of a sign-off moment on the whole segment we're doing, but it's appropriate now that you brought it up, Brett, that Andrea Stella also in the presser afterwards said Oscar is only young, he's early 20s, and that he will be a multiple world champion. So that, I mean, Zach wasn't as highly appraising as that, but I'm sure, behind closed doors.
Well, Zach got himself caught out, because, I mean, now to his credit, Nico Rosberg sort of picked up the radio thing, saying, a bit tone deaf, Zach, because it was like, oh, well, bad luck you are, but Lando's won the championship, and it's like,
Is this the hotline?
Yeah, they just said, he's a bit tone deaf, and you should have, perhaps concentrated more on saying, hey, listen, you did. It was a great year. You did a terrific job. Bring
on 2026.
2026.
If we've got the right car.
Yeah, well, and that's the problem. I mean, we don't know.
How good is 2026 to be? The anticipation with these new regs.
Yeah, Pete, what did you say?
but he can't blatantly say next year will be your year, because I can remember Mickey Hakkinen and David Coulthard did some deal prior to the Melbourne Grand Prix when they were in
I didn't have
Adelaide.
to say Nicky, but I think it was just. It sounded to me. It did sound like, it sounded very dismissive. It's as Nico said. It showed a lack of empathy, but as I was said online to somebody, it was like you've got to remember Zach's an American, and
American businessman.
and American.
You can't
Don't
tell
go
a driver. You can't tell a driver that next year will be your year. You can't promise that, because if the gap between them is greater than what it is now, like if it's a Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen scenario, and Lando Norris is clearly miles in front of him, you can't.
No, he's not promising. It just for the end of the year. I just thought it sounded a bit dismissive in terms of, obviously Oscar is going to be really. He's done as much as he can. He's finished second in the race. They've tried a different strategy. It didn't quite pay off, but they were hoping for a safety car that didn't come. But at the same,
no safety car.
Yeah, so at the same time, it just sounded to me very tone deaf on my part of Zach Brown.
I'm just going to respond to Box too.
American business
comment up. Oscar was the best Australian F1 driver. I'm going to respond to this. Some of the comments we don't respond to, and we ignore them quite often, but I'm going to respond to them tonight because they're running down the thing here. Box. I agree with you 100% totally. He was the best, but also I thought Alex had a really good year as well, though, too. Obviously with the up-and-coming Williams, but Alex and Carlos have put a lot of stuff, a lot of work behind the scenes, and they're starting to see the fruits. And yeah, it was a bit hit and miss, but let's see what goes on with their engine next year as well too, because they'll have the Merc engine if it seems to be the standout one. And kudos. So just on a quick one, I dropped down to Big W. If you want to get one at the moment, and they're a little bit more pricier than usual, but they've got some Lego special edition F1 cars at the moment. And they've got them in all the 7 different ones, and they're $34. And I've picked up a Williams and a McLaren, of course. So I thought they were the two nicest looking ones. So yeah, they're not the huge, great big box style ones. They're only probably 3 or 4 inches wide and that. But yeah, if you want to grab a McLaren one for this year and have as a Mento in the old ground effects era style car, grab a Lego from Big W and Kmart at the moment.
I can't tell you how much I hate those Lego model cars. I really can't stand them. No, they don't. They look appalling.
Well, they
don't look anything like the original. I mean, if you're going to get a model, go and buy a proper model.
The drivers loved them this year when they built full-size versions of those ugly cars.
Yeah. They were paid to love them.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they enjoyed it. You can see them. You can see that was real.
If I could just finish what I was saying, I can remember. I think it was Mickey Hakkinen and David Coulthard did some deal prior. I think it was the previous Grand Prix to the Melbourne Grand Prix, and I can remember feeling cheated when they, when on the last lap, I think it was David Coulthard let Mickey Hakkinen through because of some deal. And I know it's happened before and it'll happen again, but you feel cheated when they do deals like that. So, I don't want it to be, Lando, Oscar, it's going to be your year, and have deals like that going through the season.
Based on this year, I don't think that'll happen, Pete. I think they stuck to their principles pretty good, actually, and that was commentated by the media over the weekend. Despite all the controversy, all the criticism, all the digging, etc., like that, they actually did stick to what they said they would do on principles, on the no, and the rules, and the no favoritism. Actually, they were pretty good at it.
But Nico Rosberg said he should that Zach Brown should have said next year will be your year. Well, you can't do that.
That's right.
And
the Ferraris are like a bullet.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be the thing. I mean, we've got
Not like a sandbag.
The problem with bullets is the only way they can take a corner is to bounce off something hard.
Something hard,
New Lewis Hamilton
been a bit of
record
that.
can't reach Q1 end of first ever time in Ferrari's history.
That's a bit disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, so got that. But as Dackers is saying, the big worry, McLaren might be a crap with all the new regulations. This is the exciting thing about next year. We've got new regulations. This is why we should have new regulations in car regularly, because we have no idea. It could all go out the window. We could get to Melbourne, and the car on pole position could be an Audi. It could be a Cadillac. It could
Alpine.
It could be an Alpine. I mean, Alpine are going to have the Mercedes.
Yep.
They're going to have the Mercedes engine. If that's the best engine, Aston Martin, Adrian Newey's genius behind that now in more ways than one. Just
Lance
taking over the whole team.
Round 3, Lance Stroll could be leading the championship.
Alonso.
Let's not go.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Hey, Alonso's
Someone could take Fernando out in 2 races, and Stroll could be in front.
Who knows? So as saying Aston could be as Jared is saying, I think Aston could be an option for Oscar. I think that's going to be the thing now. I mean, this whole year is going to be filed away, particularly in Mark Webber's notebook, and it's going to be in the back of his mind that when the negotiations for a new contract come around, it's not going to be quite as easy as McLaren would like it to be, because I think a lot of the teams are going to be looking at Oscar now and saying, hey, we'll bring you in, come into our team and you are number one. You come to our team, you are number one. No arguments, boy, you're number one.
But I don't think he wants to be, because there was that debacle with Alpine. I don't think he wants to be in a hurry to get involved in breaking contracts and things.
No, I don't think he'll break the contract. And at the moment, until we see what happens next year, I mean, we're not going to. Next year is such an unknown country, an undiscovered country, that we really won't know until we probably get halfway through the year, until we at least get back into a couple of races in Europe, before we'll have a better idea about who's got this right, who's got this wrong, who's got the engines. See, I wouldn't. When you're talking about engines, you've got to remember that Audi are going to be there, and I've got massive faith in Audi's ability to build really, really good racing engines, because I sat through more than sort of 12 years of Audi just absolutely dominating sports car racing, and particularly Le Mans. That R8, the R10 engines, in all of the races they ran, they never had a single engine failure. Just think of that. 24-hour races, 12-hour races, 10-hour races, 6 and 8-hour races. They won them all, and they never had one single engine failure. They know how to.
You go first, Pete.
They don't go into things lightly. They don't just, we'll go in.
Well,
they do their research.
I was looking at Audi today, and they said the car that they will be testing before the end of the year will also be very contrastly different to the car that they'll be testing in Bahrain next year. So they're really on the fly on their development on where they are as far as not just engine, but it'll also be different engine to what it is this year to testing next year, even before, and then again different engine again going into the start of the season. So they've got multiple plan A, B, C's at the moment going Audi at the moment. I saw today, so I was looking into stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, we haven't got any times for tonight. It doesn't really matter because they're not running the new engines or the new regulations. They're running a few bits and pieces, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I mean, 2026 is going to be potentially. I mean, we already know Melbourne is going to be the interest that's going to be in that particular round right across the world is going to be absolutely enormous.
Insane.
Do you remember what it was like in 2009 when there was a big change to the cars, and we had those slimline cars introduced, and there was all the controversies over double diffusers, and there was a big shake-up in the grid, and the team formerly known as Honda suddenly emerged as the favourites in the season, and it was quite the change from 2008 heading into that season. You know, we had the last bits of the last vestiges of the Schumacher era at Ferrari were swept away when they moved into this new designs in 09, and this is what we're potentially facing here with this with the addition of Audi, with the addition of Ford, with the addition of Cadillac, and now there's and Ferrari. We're looking very much forward to put an end to the 80-20 hybrid era.
Well, they've got the 6, 7, 8 plan now, the Ferrari, and but at the same time, 6, 7, 8, they don't look. The 6, 7, 8 plan doesn't look really good at the moment. The other thing is, back on the Audi thing, they want to win a championship by 2030. And incidentally, none of us failed to mention, which is really remiss of us all, RIP Sauber as well too, because they have been around for a very, very long time, and as their main plate across the whole lot, even with, Honda engines were most of the time, the whole lot, but they've had Ford and other power plants in them. But RIP Sauber, they've done a really good job over many years.
And it was very good that they had Peter Sauber in the team, invited him along, because he's had nothing to do with the team for many years now, but they invited him along. I mean, of course, legendary in the sports car field. That's where he started. Raced in the days of Group C. Raced here at his cars raced here at Sandown in the World Sports Car Championship, the pre-run of the World Endurance Championship. Gorgeous cars, and great to see him looking fit and healthy, and alongside the team in the last appearance of the team as Sauber. Another team that's having a bit of a name change, and this is an interesting one, is Haas, which is going to be pick up naming rights sponsorship from Toyota.
Yeah.
So, they're going to run the some branding alongside that. Now, it's only a sponsorship thing at this stage, but I say at this stage because they're obviously spent a lot of time, money, and effort into Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship, but they haven't been as successful. And the word going around is that quite a few of the teams, like Porsche, are not particularly happy about the split in the regulations between the hypercars and the LMDH cars. And there's some talk that at some stage that Toyota might be the next one to turn around and pull up stumps, because they've said they have zero interest in running to LMDH regulations. They're not even remotely interested at all. And if they do have and that's one of the reasons Porsche was the opposite. Porsche said, unless we're going to go to all LMDH and we're all on a level playing field, because the interesting thing was, and if you have a look at have a listen to the Marshall Pruitt podcast, The Week in Sports Cars with Graham Goodwin. Graham was at the Porsche event, the big end of year wrap up where they make all their announcements for next year and give all their awards and all the rest of it. And he said the whole thing had changed dramatically. He said, like a couple of weeks ago, it was this has got nothing to do with motorsport. This is all because of the way that the position the company is in. We're taking a huge bar that would be obscene for us. And then they've come up at the Motorsport Awards and said, basically, we are going because we don't like these rules. There's no transparency there. We're playing to a different set of regulations. That's why we're staying in IMSA. In IMSA, at the moment, everybody's on a level playing field, with the exception, of course, of the Aston Martin. And if the Aston Martin starts getting up and winning, perhaps they'll turn around and leave there too.
Quick answer to Jimmy. Lewis is gone. He's not going to McLaren. Lewis is absolutely gone. You watched. I'll try and throw 50 million at Oscar in the next 2 years, which, as you said earlier, he won't play that game at the moment. But Lewis is gone.
He'll stay at the Ferrari.
He'll get a drive. Sorry.
He'll stay at Ferrari
Yeah, I think he'll stay with Ferrari until
They'll
the
cut him short,
retirement.
They'll
I mean, but he'll be there for because he's the perfect ambassador for them. He's they seem to love him there. I mean, he's got that whole lifestyle thing. He's got the fashion. He's got the beautiful women. He's got the whole, that whole sort of lifestyle thing, which Ferrari and the Italians really, really like. And I think they would like to keep him there, and even if it's not in the capacity as a driver. But I don't think he's. I think at his age, he's probably. I can't see him doing a Fernando Alonso and driving until
he's dropped off the cliff.
40. Yeah, he's fallen off the cliff. He's unless this new car is an absolute killer, and is just totally dominant. I think that he'll probably start the year, get through to about the halfway point, and then he'll go, yeah, look, I think I'll knock it on the head at the end of this year.
It does get harder as you get older, believe me.
Or softer, as it were. Now, speaking of the Iron Dames out of WS should try 12 hours SRO. Yeah, that's a shame. The Iron Dames has been a really, really successful campaign, and they've pulled out of the WEC, so that's disappointing. Yeah. So there's been a few.
It was somewhat inevitable, I think, because the Iron Dames broke up with Iron Lynx effectively, even though there's some co-ownership arrangements that go on between the two irons. But we now have the situation. They went into the new year. Iron Lynx moved to Mercedes-Benz for their program, and there's quite a few Australians involved in the Iron Lynx program as well, like the Groves and Martin Berry. The Iron Dames moved to Porsche, and I say moved to Porsche, but they already ran Porsches in their other programs, like in ELMS with Proton. So the only way they could run Porsche in WEC was with Manthey, and Manthey heading into 2026 has got a different arrangement coming up now. So there wasn't a space for the Iron Dames going forward in the Porsche program, and as well there's these other issues going on with what's happening with the 963 program, and we now have it's like, okay, Porsche's pulled out of the WEC at hypercar level, but they also seem to be just realigning themselves. It's somewhat sad that we're seeing this reduction in Porsche's level of involvement heading into Le Mans 2026. But yeah, the Iron Dames couldn't stay with Porsche. They couldn't move back with Iron Lynx. So yeah, they were left in a situation where they couldn't continue with the WEC. There was no option for them.
Yeah, it looks like we lost Pete somewhere along the track, so hopefully he'll come back in just a moment. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay, let's. We've spoken a bit about Formula One. It's interesting today. The supercars were testing up at Winton. Some of the teams. We had Erebus, we had Walkinshaw, and Walkinshaw were running the Toyota. I haven't seen any footage from that. Yeah, I'm sure, because the thing about testing up at Winton is there's no way that you can sort of block people out, and you're going to be able, because there's so many places you can see on from the side of the road there. It's going to be very hard to stop people getting, even if the place is locked up. Very hard to stop people from whacking a lens through a fence and getting some shots.
Or a drone in the area as well too.
Yeah, that's the thing for the people who use drones. They've become like quite a nuisance. At Calder Park, we had a real hassle on Sunday when I was just sitting there commentating, and suddenly this drone just sort of went past the commentary box, and I went, that'll be getting some good shot. And race control went, oh my God, we've got tell them to get that thing down now, or we're shutting down this meeting. It was that serious. So I had to sort of just say, guys, get it out of the
the shop at Fountain Gate, which is up the road these days, has got quite a comprehensive drone shop these days. Some of the drones these days are so highly advanced, even you can just walk in the door of a bloody store like at Apple or bloody Connor or Kmart and just buy this, spend a few bucks, and this thing will absolutely the bee's knees on drones. On that, getting back on subject. a quick shout out to the couple of girls that got some supercar tests up there. Brett was probably going to mention, and a wonderful friend of the show. I see posts quite regularly from her. She's a great girl, and she joined us there a couple of years ago. Courtney Prince. All the best, and hope the Super 2 career takes off for her.
Yeah, so she's been sort of promised for a while, and it's eventually fallen together that she's got the Les Pete has rejoined us. So he's managed to get
we've seen a bit of
rejoined than I had last week. But yeah, so well done. Good luck to Courtney with her plans. I mean, you've got between her and Alice Buckley, they're looking like possibly a couple of young women drivers who could make that next step up, and it would certainly be a huge boost for the sport in Australia if we could get,
especially Super 2
there. Well, yeah, Super 2, but I mean, we've had like Chelsea Angelo, another friend of the show. She was involved. We had Leanne Tander was in Super 2. We've had a couple of drivers, but yeah, I mean, we the sport desperately needs women drivers, and it desperately needs women to be a part of it. And that's the exciting thing, though, is apparently in the United States, we've seen the growth of Formula One in the United States, and it's coming predominantly from women. They took Apple. One of the reasons Apple got involved, and I heard this on MacBreak Weekly the other week, that it was said that one of the reasons they got involved is because, number one, the number of young university-educated people who were getting involved and interested in Formula One, and number two, when they did the figures, it was 52% of them are young women, and they're hugely into Formula One. So
why?
And
Drive to
in
Survive
Supercars,
made huge inroads into the public consciousness, and
In
particularly
Supercars-
during COVID.
Either probably engineering or glamour, Richard.
in Supercars, I notice in the pit crews, there are a lot of women, a lot of young women.
Yeah, there are now, and a lot of that has come from, I'll give it a quick plug, because a lot of those women, probably the vast majority of them, have come direct out of Formula SAE, and this weekend is Formula SAE at Calder Park. Now, just one thing, if you went to Calder Park on Sunday for the Roll Racing Championship, and congratulations to Geordie Stojanovic, who took out the championship in Miss Lambo. Had one race that he actually had to try, and he just was that much under 300 kilometres an hour at the end of the run. So, and I mean, it was that much. I think it was 299.98 or something that he went across the.
That's frustrating.
So that's incredibly quick for for that car, but. You might have noticed Calder Park, there's been some big changes at Calder Park, and that is most of the spectator area has now been closed off as a result of it being blocked off by the local council for being unsafe. So pretty much the whole of the spectator area, all of those seats that are running down the first have got a big fence around them, and you can't get on them. There's still places you can still sit on the grass. You can still sit on stuff further up towards the pit end, so it won't have that much of an effect on Formula SAE. But it's interesting that Trans Am, amongst others, have announced that Calder Park will be part of their plans, and the AASA National Series. They've also announced their final round is going to be at Calder Park as well. They're going to have to do a lot of work out there to get that up to.
Jimmy's just comment on it, Brett. Don't put Jimmy's one up though. Throw Brad's up, because that answers a bit of the question on the 12 hour.
12 hours. So we've got we've got entries from Porsche, BMW. McLaren's coming back, so we've got a McLaren coming in from Europe, and extra entries from Asia, an extra craft bamboo car. They're always a very popular out there. Corvette, Mustang, the Quinn Audi, and there's more on the way. So
is the KTM back? I wonder if the KTM's back as well. I'm not sure about that.
KTM is
back. Okay, good.
It ended the other day.
It's a 3-car team from Tagani with Mercedes AMG GT3s.
Well, just quickly, Brett and I why I asked about the KTM. Brett and I had a really good chat with them, and they're super friendly 2 years ago, and a lot of fun with them. And they really had a bad luck weekend, and I'd like to see, they don't lap around as quick as some of the other ones.
They won their class.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, boom, boom.
Well, that's the thing is, if I had the money, look, if I had the money, if I won Tats Lotto on Saturday night, which is not going to happen because one, it's almost impossible, and number two, I don't enter. But if I did and I won, I'd happily jump out and say, like, I'm going to hire a GT4 car because I'm virtually, if I finish, I'm virtually guaranteed a podium spot at the Bathurst 12 Hours. Say, yes, I was second in the GT4 at the Bathurst 12 Hour.
Well, you'd have to win Tats Lotto anyway to pay off the scrutineers to let you get in and out of the car in the second rule. So you get by the law of the land.
But we are in the realm of fantasy.
Absolutely.
Now. But yeah, so Bathurst is there. I'm still hoping to get up. I do have I have the camping booked at this stage. I can't see how I'm going to make it, but if there's any chance at all, I have a small little block of the mountain that I can throw my tent on. So if we can make it happen, I'll certainly be up there. It's going to be great. It's always a great meeting. If you haven't been, get along. It's fantastic. Before we move into anything else, I was going to say this coming up this Friday, Avalon Speedway, the rescheduled Fireball Derby, and Super Sedans. That's a really good card, that, because Super Sedans are great by themselves, and of course we all know how popular the sprint cars are. Also, it's an international field as well. We've got some American drivers, I think, heading out there to be a part of that. There's a few of them come out here now. And also, I put out online the Thunder from Western Australia. I forget the name of the actual program now. Someone will no doubt let me know. But the sprint car racing from the Perth Motorplex on Channel 7. It's one of the best broadcasts, one of the best in terms of technical productions for low budget technical productions. They do an amazing job out of that. There, so somebody
who's getting the fine?
Somebody that is me. That is Jason. He should know not to ring by now because we're doing a show. So I'll just have to
could be deliberate if it's Jason, but that's a fine for Brett.
Oh, yummy! A slab.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't share it because I don't drink beer. I suppose it'll have to be Bacardi and Coke or Bundy and Coke or something like that. Brad's saying there will be extra GT4 entries in the 12 hour. But yeah,
Oh, geez, Brett, that might push you down to fourth place, the Australian.
Yeah, that's right. You're going back down the grid, Brett.
Yes, that's it. It's certainly killed my plans. But yeah, Avalon Speedway this week should be a really good. I think the forecast is reasonably good. So that'll be a fantastic meeting. So if you're anywhere over that side of the city, or you're prepared to sort of battle the traffic across town with all the roadworks on the West Gate and all the rest of it, going on. I had a look the other night. I was thinking of going over, and I had a look at the map, and it said it was going to take 3.25 hours to get from here. And I went, no, I don't think I'll bother. But it's a good night out there. Take a folding chair and sit out there, and you'll have a fabulous night of racing out at Avalon on Friday. But as I said, also Formula SAE. Even if you've got nowhere to sit down in the grandstand, that's not what it's about. It's not about the racing. It's about the technical quality. And so many of those young people involved in Formula SAE and Formula Student around the world are currently in Formula One. We know a few of them because we covered it for many, many years. And quite a lot of them, we catch up with them now, and they say, "Oh, yeah, what are you doing now?"
Brett, you just said take a fold. You said take a folding chair, or whatever like that. No, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more because expanding on what you just said. No, because it's very open and they're very inviting. The paddock is great. Get around there, have a look at the cars close up, have a chat to them. They are more than happy to have a talk about it. And so don't just sit on the grass or your captain's chair up on the thing. Get out there. And the other thing is too, during events, sometimes because they're 4 or 5 different disciplines and they run them one after another, get out there and you can actually get close up to the track and where it is and lean on a fence or something to where the action is. You don't have to be sitting up on the grass.
Things have changed, Doc. You will not be at cold, especially at colder.
Okay.
That's one of the things. So I'm not sure how. The interesting thing is the fact that they're booking colder so far out for the for the Super Series, the High Tech Oil Series.
They'll have to fix it
would
up.
indicate to me that they are. Hopefully, they are going to actually get around to fixing that. They really. I heard some people starting were bad mouthing the local council. Typical council and typical Labor government and all the rest of it. This has nothing. This is long overdue because I've got to say, unfortunately, I'll probably get in trouble. I might lose the gig, but whatever. The conditions for spectators out there in that particular part were very, very.
Well, I'll do it for you, and without going too extravagant, is those chairs, some of those plastic coloured ones, are probably that faded and that old. If you sat on that, it'd explode. Then that's the sort of. So,
it's actually more the
terracing.
Yeah, it's the steps. The steps are. I've seen so many people. I've nearly fallen myself. Melissa actually fell down them like this about 6 years ago. We were at the drags and Melissa had a fall there. And I've seen so many people have their, and I'm in a situation where I had the roving mic and I was supposed to go down to the track to do some interviews, and I just couldn't do it because I looked down there and I went, there is absolutely no way I'm going to try and get down those steps because I'm going to fall over.
They're terrible. They're the worst. I mean, I'm pretty good on my feet, and even I can't. They terrify me because they're offset. They're the wrong length.
Some of them are a metre. I mean, you've literally got to jump. There's no handrails, but apparently, what has happened now? The council has gone around. They've had a full audit of the place, and they've said, okay, that's got to be changed. That's got to be changed. And you're not getting a permit until they are changed or until things.
Even where there's so many rounds with so many different sports being booked there, they'll have to fix it.
And even when I went there, when it was a going concern, like when they had NASCARs and things, those terraces were just the same. They were very rudimentary.
Well, there's now because the steps that you'd go up to the spectator area from the paddock, they were blocked off. They've been shut down as well for similar reasons. So now you've got to go around what is called the accessible area, the wheelchair area. There is not a hope in hell, Pete, if you can, unless you sort of have your chair rebuilt by the Hyundai Rally team.
Four-wheel drive mode.
Yeah, there is not a hope
Ryan,
in
man.
hell that you're going to get around. I did see one, but it literally was like someone going around with 3 or 4 friends pushing him up the hill because the hill is like that. It's all mud. It's all So you're not going to get there. As Paul's saying there, that's there. The previous management had a long history of ignoring council requests, and we know that.
Have we got some stories for you?
I'm sure, and Paul knows most of them, and so do anybody who's been out there know. It's such a shame because, as I pointed out, on commentary, when I look out up in the commentary box. And that was another thing. The comedy box was the commentary box is now to the stage that they have said that we can keep using it, but it can have no more than 2 people in that. So it's basically race control and me, and security were there. And at one stage, Pete, who runs the meeting, came in, and the security said, "I'm sorry, until he leaves, you can't go," because the council have basically said no more than 2 people at a time in that. So that's how worried they are about some of the structures out there, and they really have sort of let the unfortunately as Paul said the original Bob lost track of things and had other things on his mind and just fell into massive despair.
You're making it up, Brad.
Yeah, so Ben was there on Saturday. VHRR had to come and try day on Saturday. I must say congratulations to Pete and all the team from Calder Park Drag Racing, who converted it back to drag racing facilities overnight and in the morning, and we had a really good day. We did have one. We did have one quite big crash involving a BMW. It was almost a repeat of what we saw down at Geelong, although thankfully no one was standing
with thongs on.
With thongs on. But yeah, it was sort of a very similar sort of accident to look at, and it took a bit of time out. But we had some good time. There is one more meeting to go. I think it's the 19th, the Friday. It's a fast Friday. So just basically come, test and tune, run what you brung, come along, have some fun before Christmas. It's your last opportunity for a hit out this year, and that's going to be the final meeting for this year before they launch into season 2026. But hopefully we'll get some news further down the track that they are going to make those repairs at Calder Park, but they're not. It's not going to be. The problem is it's not going to be cheap. That's going to be the thing. It's they're not. If they want to do it properly, and they should do it properly, we're talking a lot of money to get that thing up to.
Nothing's cheap these days.
No, that's true. Calder's Richard, is it your pet hate?
I'm like schizophrenic about it, because I used to go out there when I was very young, and it used to be a magical place, and now it's more like a dystopian sort of. I feel like it's Mad Max out there.
Yeah, the yellow brick roads sort of just the cobblestones are just flying off into the distance.
The track has got no grip.
The interesting thing is the local council, and bring back the city council. I've seen some statements from them, and they're turning around and saying, "Look, we don't want to shut this down. We think this is a valuable local asset. We know that there's big festivals there. There's big crowds get out there. It provides employment. There's not much else you can do out there. We're not in a hurry to shut the thing down, but it's got to be." There's got to be some restrictions on the noise and the times they run, but in particular, it's just got to be safe. And the silly thing is, it's a racetrack where the most dangerous thing you can do is actually be a spectator there.
But I must admit, the only place I've had a really good crash is at Calder.
What's good about it?
That track has no grip. I mean, it's like they've embedded ball bearings into asphalt, because they're just the tops of the stones are so polished now after years. But hey, it's a track. You make the best of it.
The point is, the problem is, it is booked solid. It is absolutely booked solid for the rest of this year and for most of the first part of next year as well. That's the problem of, when Pete's had to cancel the meetings because of the weather, and people say, well, why don't you run on Sunday? Why don't you run the following Friday? They can't, because the place is booked out. There's a lot of people that are using it, and that shows you how much we desperately need more tracks down here, because Sandown's very limited. Phillip Island is both limited and horrendously expensive. Winton is a long way away.
Well, that's probably got a lot to do with it. Comparing to other facilities, because of its nature, that state it's in now, it's probably a little bit cheaper to be able to book things. And if you're not utilising all of the landscape, places that obviously businesses will say, "Oh, look, I only need this section, so I'm not paying $20,000 for the day. I only want to pay $2,000 for this. I only want to use this part of it, and I need it on Friday, the 13th of bloody May." So they've probably got it booked, which stops everyone else. But at the same time, it's therefore cost effective to be able to do it, because the place is in such a state that it is now. You can't ask a premium dollar to be able to use even just a little part.
And that's what worries me about whether they're actually going to make, because they really don't have, because if they're not going to bring the drag strip, if they're not going to have a dedicated drag strip, they're never going to get the sort of crowds that would justify spending the sort of money that they need to spend in order to get that thing. So they might just say, no, let's just leave it fenced off, and people can, because even for something like the High Tech Oil series, and the best of our sort of off street drag thing, the biggest crowd you're going to get is level is 4,000 or 5,000, and they can fit in around other areas, or they could just basically run the bulldozer around the whole thing, get rid of all the seats, and just turn it into grass banks, and there's going to be no. And then the thing about that is then there's no steps at all, but you've got these great big slippery.
Well, you've got to work on what degree of incline you've got. Yeah, so there's got to be certain degrees. Yep, a good point, Knackers.
Have they got rid of the church?
No.
It's out in the middle. It's totally restored out in the middle of nowhere. Nothing's going to happen to it because
they've embalmed his body and it's sat up in there in front of the audience.
The church is in good nick and the lawns are mowed around it. It's actually in good. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Well, they said they have their the drivers' briefings and quite a few other things. And they do have for some meetings. They do actually have sort of the chaplain Mark and his friends go in there and they have a bit of a session, a Sunday morning session, do whatever it is that they do on a Sunday morning. So sing some songs and clap their hands. And that was there because, as I said, I mean, I'm happy it's still there because, as I said, I've said before, there's the family connection because that church was the church that my parents got married in. So when it was in Northcote, so yeah, that was the connection there. As their Broadford's viable for club level events. That's a great track. That Broadford's a terrific little track. If you want to go,
the impression that Broadford's license was specifically for motorcycle.
Yeah, but you can run a limited. Supercars run there.
Motorcycle
Legends have run there.
Again,
but also,
motorcycle engine.
Alphas run their days there.
Yeah, there are. They can run. You can run like sprints and that sort of that sort of thing there. Yeah. Speaking of drags, how's Heathcote going? And also Raptors asked. I think
there's a Box and Knackers have asked about Heathcote.
Heathcote. I haven't heard anything. I've heard that it's there are people involved in getting that up and running again. There's lots of rumours going around, and I heard lots of them on the weekend regarding Adrian Portelli having some involvement in either a new drag strip or trying to get involved in a drag strip here because he's now on the board of the National Drag Racing Championship. He's announced that he's going to start getting into this is the guy behind LMCT Plus. They're going to now start having a chain of petrol stations. The first one of those is opening soon, and he said the plan is to spread them all over Australia. So that's his next thing. So he's got some resources to throw some money at such a thing. So let's have a look. I don't know whether
to think about that.
In Heathcote. But the problem is, as we said with Heathcote, there's nothing wrong with the venue apart from getting there and getting in and out of the joint. Yes, but Mad Cow Mark, yes. Nitro Funny Car and Top Fuel. Top Fuel, they were going to run the, I think it's round one of the Top Fuels, only over an eighth of a mile. But there will be Nitro Funny Cars. I think the Aeroflow, Graham Cowan's sort of troop are coming down. But Nitro, Top Fuelers will be there. Also, various sportsman categories. Going to be a huge weekend. They'll get a massive crowd to that. But the thing is, Mildura's further away. Mildura's further away from Melbourne than the Bend is. So, yeah. Anyway, hey, listen, let's get there. Bring back Cherry Lane and Pipe Road Drag. Mark, do you want to wrap up anything for the year first? Let's go around. Start with Mark. Quickly wrap up the of the year.
Well, I guess I've thoroughly enjoyed season 2025. It's been a great racing all over the place, from the stuff that I've attended, the stuff that I've watched on TV. We've seen the blossoming of Oscar Piastri, and we've seen Matt Campbell came within 15 seconds of winning Le Mans. And just by the way, Matt's been, unfortunately, he wins the IMSA Championship, but he doesn't have a full-time ride for Porsche in the US next year. So that's a little disappointing.
I'll just say that apparently the word going around is that his contract probably ends sometime in the year, and there may be an announcement around June. I don't know what happens in June, but I think there's something happens in June
AFS
somewhere.
end of the financial year.
Yeah, and I believe there's another company. It's not Fiat, but it starts with F. There may be an involvement there somewhere.
Is that something that would be bored?
That you could be bored. Yes. That's,
Anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, I've been to see to watch Matt win the IMSA GDP Championship was probably my my highlight of the year. You know, the Queenslander from Darling Downs. I remember when he was a teenager in his little Datsun and his Formula Fords and his fantastic to see him striding the world stage and with great stuff still to come, I'm sure. And and of course Oscar for WC for and that's not Water Closet, WC for 2026.
Okay, well, thank you to you for joining us this year. We really appreciate it. It was something that I was meaning to sort of invite you for a while, and I thought, so I'm glad you.
Well, thank you.
Glad you've come on board, and we've got sort of that sort of connection with with Queensland as well, and the state scene, and some of the stuff you've been able to.
Yeah, the northern. So we'll call Jonesy the Northern Lights, and it's been
the Northern Lights.
Been a
and
pleasure.
Look, if we can find some
1990s IndyCars.
Northern Lights,
but
Sydney
it's
and
funny.
Perth and all the rest of it. We might.
It's been a bit of a connection to have Jonesy because with Brett and I, and obviously Richard and Pete, I don't know if in his day, but we've got that connection to Queensland with the motorsport back in the days, and they're just as relevant in Australia as some of the stuff that we have down here in Victoria. And Jonesy's, you know, we've been able to reminisce about times we've been to events years gone by with Jonesy and talking about stuff up there that's happened.
Richard smiling.
It's relevant. So it's been, it's good.
I posted a picture on the socials during the week of me in at Adelaide in 1995.
I did see it. Yes.
Thank you for your perspective, Jonesy.
Yes, so that's it. So
thank you very much for inviting me along and making me feel so welcome.
Of course, always welcome, and hopefully we can do it all again next year, depending on what happens. Doc, just quickly at your end, but perhaps on.
I'll go around the room. I'll go second last before you go for it.
Okay, well, let's go, Richard.
Well, thank goodness for KO, because the year started badly with injuries and illness, so I had plenty to watch. And at long last, the motor racing's cranking up, and hopefully I have a better year this year.
Actually, speaking of watching, I'll just roll over because you just mentioned, we mentioned Le Mans. The ACO every year do what they call the movie of. There's basically a documentary that they do every year on Le Mans, and they released the one for this year's race yesterday.
Oh, it's on YouTube. I saw it today. It's on
YouTube. Go to the World Endurance Championship YouTube page. Have a look at it. They do an amazing job. It really is about as close as you can ever get to actually being there, because they cover not just what happens on the track, but things that happen in the town, all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, the press briefings and all the things that happen on Friday that the public never see. It's a really, it really brought back some memories. I only watched the first sort of 20 minutes or so of it. Brought back some amazing and some wonderful memories. So just go along. You'll absolutely love it. So if you can find yourself sort of 90 minutes or so over the course of the weekend, and you want to have a really good motorsport experience, check out, because it was a great race, as Jonesy was saying. It was very close. So check out the movie of Le Mans on the YouTube channel. So Richard, just what did you had?
I was going to add, and you could, if you're going to watch that, play Speed Tribe. Remember that?
I still got a few copies lying around. If anybody wants to buy one.
Excellent stuff. Just great season on the V8 Supercars and F1. was really good. Never knew to the last minute who was going to win the world championship. And yeah, that covers it.
Pete, what are your highlights of the year?
Yep. I mainly watched Supercars and the Formula Ones, and yep, I like the final series, and I think as much as it was distasteful for some people, I like the fact that there were team tactics and like Ryan Wood running up and yeah,
We're getting spam,
I like that.
Spam, Brett. You want to check the chat? Maybe delete some stuff. We're getting
And
spammed.
and the Formula One, yep. Like we didn't know until the last race who was really going to win the championship, and I think eventually Oscar will be a champion. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, well, I was surprised because I did say I got it wrong because I did say at the start of the year that I thought that Oscar would win a world championship. Even if Lando did end up winning a world championship, Oscar would win it before Lando. I still think that overall he's a better driver. But anyway, it didn't fall his way.
And I like their philosophy of both their philosophies of driving. In that they go for a gap, no matter how small or big. And
I think Oscar will be a much better driver in terms of there because it was his third year and he was trying to do the right thing. I think that one of the things that they'll be looking at over the break, and that particularly that he and Mark Webber will be looking at, is pretty much that no more Mr. Nice Guys. Like where I'm racing hard, and next time there'd better be a really I'll play the team game to an extent, but if it's going to cost me points, it's going to cost me places. Sorry, no favours are being done, pal. So, so let's see what it's going to be like next year.
Quick response to Skies V. I think, the circumstances aren't always the best. It's never smooth sometimes, but I think Davo, he's a great representation, ambassador, top guy to the sport. But yeah, it had got to a point where I think he needed to move along a little bit. I think Courtney got an extra year out of it just because of his status, and he's getting being. There's a hell of a lot of nice people, I know, it's like and great people within the sport, but unfortunately,
and I think
you've got to move on at some stage.
You've got to move on, and he's picked up something at. He's got a co-drivers at Grove, so that'll be a good thing as well. So we haven't lost him, and that's the thing. I mean, people can move on. I mean, they can just because they're out of supercars, if they still want to go race. I mean, the whole GT thing. I mean, there's so many opportunities, not just in Australia but around the world, to sort of put your hand up and say, well, I might take this opportunity now that I'm not doing supercars anymore. Always wanted to race at the Nürburgring 24 hours. Always wanted to do Spa, etc., etc. And you've got those opportunities now. So let's see how they take it. Doc, you wanted to say that?
The guy, just reiterate what everyone said so far, and I know what you'll also add to me afterwards. It's been a great year. Motorsport's not just about the racing or the crashing the cars on the track or the victories or the trophies and stuff like that. It's Brett and I are lucky enough to be able to go to the tracks whenever we're all time poor, but when we can get out and we don't do quite as much as we did last year, but we get out when we can, and it's fantastic to meet up with all the people and chat to the things. And there's some wonderful people that behind the scenes, just like our own show, that do a lot of hard work in the garages and behind the scenes in the workshops and all the stuff and the everywhere and in different aspects of the thing. I mean, and especially the volunteers. The volunteers, the marshals, all the stuff. And Brett and I sometimes these days, because I'm part of that family as well too. You go to a track and you spend half a day just catching up with people about everything in life, not necessarily to do with racing, because you've got that relationship with them. So, also want to add to the first half of the year that Brett and I were lucky enough, and Pete jumped on board too. For a lot of it, we were able to do the tune-up and be the official training program at RMIT, which was a great Oh, great. We won't go into politics, please, Brett. I saw that political face there for a second, but it was fun getting into the studio and working with the people we have done for years, and also helping some of the newer generation that are learning and that want to learn and be part of the show and have a lot of fun and doing some music in the year. So that was great as well too. It's been good to have a bit of a holiday at the same time, and I suggested to Brett today off air, and he's had it in the thought back of his mind for a while, and I've been thinking of it a few times. We should do a little, maybe, like, there's a lot of cricket on TV, but it's mostly related to actually action on the field. But like Motorsport, there's not, we should maybe do a one-off, maybe.
There's also a shitload of podcasts.
Podcasts, but we could maybe give it a go and do a cricket show maybe in January.
I'll be snoozing in the back of the studio.
You can. We'll have a bit of we're all cricket tragics in different ways, and maybe have a bit of fun. And yeah, it'll be to everyone out there. Have a great off season. Have a great seasonal Merry Christmas, New Year, whatever you're doing, holidays, going away, catching up with friends, family, and having a great time over the next few weeks, or going to the odd event here and there. And stay safe, be well, and in your travels, have a great time and enjoy life.
Yeah, well, that's we'll wrap it up there. We've got to move off sometimes. We'll be having a break now. I'm not sure when or if or how we'll come back. We're looking at a few things. I got to say, Doc sort of talked about some of the things that we've done this year, and it was good. It was a very strange year. It's 2025 will be a year that I'm not going to miss one iota. It was a horrible year, and I'm very, very glad that it's going away very, very soon. So, yeah, as I said, what we do next year, we don't really know. Certainly it will be the 30th anniversary of us starting in pit lane back in 1996. So I know that our Channel 31 have certainly spoken to us about the possibility of doing something with them. But as Doc sort of intimated, there's an awful lot of politics behind the scenes, not involving 31, but involving other people, which has made things a bit difficult. The same with the tune-up. We would love to come back for the tune-up. Whether that actually happens is totally outside of our control right now. And once again, people want it back. 31 want it back. We want it back. All of the acts, the musicians, and all of the live entertainers in Melbourne would love it back as well. But unfortunately, we're not the people who are making the decisions. Look, I'm going to have a really good break now. As much as I would like to do a podcast and all the rest of it, what I would really like to do is to go away, get off the computer, and not be heard about until either I come back next year and say, hello, welcome to a new series of Full Course Yellow, or you find my body overfilled with turkey, ham, and whatever else I can scab up for Christmas. So thanks to everybody. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's supported us. My plans for this year didn't go as planned at all, in terms of in pit lane and what we were trying to do. But to everybody, to Knackers, to Mad Cow Mark, to Roy, our mate,
all the regulars and the blow-ins and all the racers that join us too, Brett.
Yeah, everybody involved, to Tracy and Mark Borland for their ongoing support. Thank you very much for helping out over the years. We really do appreciate it. As I said, right now, really want to go. There will be more stuff. There is more stuff to come on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. We've got a great interview with Rowan Carrick about him rebuilding and racing his father's Formula 2 car. We did that at Sandown. So that's coming up as well. I've still got some stuff that I want to try and get there before next year's Bathurst 12 Hours. I want to actually get stuff that we did at this year's Bathurst 12 Hours.
Well, we'll probably kick off beforehand, and if we're both up there at Bathurst 12 Hour, we'll do some live stream or something.
We probably will, within the limitations that we've got. It will depend on whether we get sort of media accreditation or not. But either way, I mean, we'll be up there because it is an amazing event. Stay tuned and be watching that. As I said, Formula SAE on the weekend out at Calder Park. Lots and lots of speedway happening. Lots of drag racing pretty much everywhere except Melbourne, but even at places like Mildura and down Warrnambool and places like that. So plenty to watch over the summer period, plenty of cricket to watch, all sorts of things, plenty of food to eat, plenty of sun. Well, perhaps not plenty of sun if you're in Melbourne, but whatever. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for all your support. To some of the people, really will be saying thank you to everyone. Yes, thanks to Mark. Saying yes. Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's not been a good year, has it, Mark? A great Christmas. Have a good New Year. We're really looking forward to that New Year. I think I speak to Mark and many of us in that respect, and hopefully we will see you in that New Year. Have a great break. Have a safe break. Look after yourselves. We'll see you next year here on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel for something probably.